15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake effect, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis in the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. Really excited for this afternoon's episode for a myriad of reasons. One of the things that Nickel City Crew has brought to me is an opportunity to kind of have a chance to just work through it, almost like a therapy session. DT and I always joke about paying the lady at the front desk and giving her our Bills Mafia card and then laying down on the couch and just kind of working it out. And it's funny because I've had so many different thoughts throughout the week, and you hear all the different narratives going around and different things like that. And I just, there's some things that I need to get off my chest, and that's literally the impetus of the episode, Bill's Thoughts Said Out Loud. Joining me this afternoon, my co-host, Riding Shotgun, Adam Dump Truck Rupsick. Check him out on Instagram and Twitter at Adam Rupsick, RUPCZYK. Holla at the crew, DT. We got to do it. I mean, it's funny. We got it. We have to do it. We got to swallow the pill. What's up, man? Holla at the crew.
What's up, Rob? What's up, Nickel City? We were talking a little this week, and glad it was the end of the week because didn't want to do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even yesterday, to be honest. So give a couple days to kind of to digest, and we'll hash it out tonight, and that's all we can do. But it stinks. It stinks. Obviously a tough loss and a year with so much hope, and we're right back where we were, and we're too far away from the draft and the combine to start getting excited. Right. So this is just the dark days of winter, man. The dark days of winter are upon us, and we got to get through them. And I guess my advice is we've done it before, so we can do it again. But it's this was a tough one, man. But good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah, man. I appreciate your time. It is a tough one, and I was thinking about just how I was going to name the episode and what type of thoughts I had. And before I get to that, I wanted some help. So I reached out and I was like, you know what? There's one person that I definitely need to hear from and be consoled by. A kid when they're going through and they bump their knee or they bonk their head, they need the comfort of a mama. The mama of Nickel City Crew is here, the editor-in-chief at Buffalo FAMBase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that DT and I simulcast on, the incomparable Robyn Mundy. Check her out on Instagram and Twitter at Robyn Mundy, WYO for Wyoming. Holla at the crew, Mama Mundy. I needed you. I reached out to you early this week and I said, I need you. I need a hug. I need a Bills Mafia hug. I need one. I need to be consoled. Holla at the crew,
your
mama. I do. Holla at the crew.
And that's okay because it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And always, we had him on a couple of weeks ago, and I love going back and forth with him and giving him shit. He gives me shit. But I really, truly do love this brother and love the opportunity that he gave us to simulcast on his network. Again, shout out to the Godfather Del Reed, and shout out again to Jay Spence, the King, for hooking us up. The wonderful, annoyingly wonderful, the creative director at Buffalo FAMBase, JA17, the Justus. Holla at the crew, Justus, General Radford. Holla at the crew, man. I'm happy to have you. I know you get on my damn nerves sometimes, but I love having you on. Holla at the crew. What's good, General?
Oh, salute. Man, I'm so happy. I'm glad that you have me on today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
I always say that I want to be like calm and even keel, but like you guys are like my brothers. You know what I mean? Like you're the only guys in the world that could get me like, you know what I mean, to a point where, you know what I'm saying. And then of course Auntie Robyn, who I love more than I love breathing air. So glad to be on with you guys.
Appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Listen, everybody, when I first thought about my notes and stuff like that, it's funny because I'm the youngest of 6, and it's funny, Nickel City Crew, Bill's Mafia, being the little brother sometimes, it has its advantages, but a lot of times it just has it sucks sometimes because my closest brother in age is 7 years older than me, Mark, and it was funny because he was like the Hulk to me, basically growing up. So 7 years, that age gap is a little bit different than even my kings. They've got 2-year age gaps and 4 and stuff like that. But like for me, growing up with my older brother, he was so much older than me. He was so much bigger and physically dominant that when we played sports, I never stood a chance for many, many years. I think I was a damn near teenager by the first time I actually was hanging with him in basketball, and he was a football star. But I love basketball. Basketball was my first love, and it took me. I swear I was about 14, 15 till I could actually hang and come close to beating him. And after that game, DT, I was so gutted by the loss because of the fact that I just felt like a little brother mentality. Like, man, I can't beat him, and it kind of rushed over me, and that's why I named the episode the way that I did, DT, because of the fact that they're better than us, DT, and I don't want to hear, and we'll get into it. I don't want to hear anything about the refs, and I never wanted to use that as a coping mechanism or anything like that, and we can disagree on that later, crew. But DT, the thing that really just flooded over me was that, like, man, they beat us. They were better than us in every facet of the game, coaching, execution. It was a situation where that game on Sunday, I just have a tough time finding excuses other than the fact that they were just better than us, DT. They really were.
I agree. I mean, and
we could
the
disagree
tough
tonight.
part
That's
is
fine. I'm ready to disagree with y'all tonight.
the tough part about this for me this week is, we didn't play a bad game.
No.
The game we put out there, the game 17 and the boys put out there probably beats the other 30 teams in the league Sunday night. In all honesty, that's probably true. So I just all week just kind of phasing that of the 3 phases of the game, including coaching. So make that the 4th phase of the game.
Okay.
You're looking at getting outplayed, right? Offensively, we didn't execute. We'll get into it later, I'm sure, breaking down the actual situations.
Okay.
We didn't execute on the short yardage. We didn't execute on a few screen plays. We didn't execute on some third downs.
Right.
Defensively, didn't get the stop we needed. And special teams had that long punt return for a touchdown. Add that on to possibly getting out coached towards the end, really all game getting out coached. The 4 phases, they have an edge. It's going to be tough to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at home. So the actual game itself, yeah, they had the edge in all 4 phases. We had to play perfect. We know we did. Good isn't good enough. But the thing is, guys, we knew this. Good isn't good enough, and we knew this. So That's what I'm battling with this week. Good isn't good enough, but we knew that.
Momma Mundy, it's funny because when I thought about that little brother mentality, it was because of the fact that some of the things that DT talked about, I mean, the coaching, it was kind of clear to me. And not just the last 4th and 5 and the blitz that Spagnuolo sent. It was just more than that. It was the short yardage like DT talked about. And I mean, after 2 times of going for it or the tush push, if it's not working, we got to do something different. What did Kansas City do? They flushed out Mahomes and rolled them out and got easy first downs on theirs. They obviously don't do the push, but it was more along the lines of, Joe Brady, this is what I do. It's been working all season, and I'm just going to do it. After he gets stuffed a couple times, let's pivot. Let's not do the same thing. Let's have some type of adjustment. And I just didn't see it. He talked about it. He took the words out of my mouth. That special teams return almost for a touchdown by Romagio or whatever his name is. I mean, that's crucial. Defensively, you don't you don't stop them, and we'll definitely get into that because I want to talk about McDermott. You know I do. Momma Mundy, it just seemed like we were outclassed in every facet of the game, and it just leaves me with that little brother mentality. Like he's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster, and I can't physically do anything with him. That's how I felt.
I think it's a good analogy.
Yeah.
I think it's a very good analogy. But I'll back up the train
Okay.
just a little bit and
Mhm.
say I think that our level of expectation as fans
Mhm.
changed a lot over the course of the season. And
Absolutely.
we have to remember that this is the team that lost Stephon Diggs, that we lost
Mhm.
captains,
Yep.
lost
Heidi
leadership.
Boyer. Mhm. Mhm.
You know, it was built already. It was supposed to be
I said
rebuilt.
10-7. I said 10-7.
I
Just get
didn't
into
think
the playoffs. Yep. Just get in.
exactly, exactly. And so I can appreciate that as the course of the season went on, things changed in terms of our expectations. But I think that you're right when you say, and DT, the words out of my mouth too, they're just better than us at this point.
Mhm.
They're just better than us. Now, we're going to get into why that's the case.
That's right.
And I have a few things to say about that.
Mhm.
But I do think just one thing to lead into it, we have to talk about Joe Brady.
We do.
And we have to talk about what happened because he's busy interviewing for head coaching jobs.
Mhm.
And you cannot tell me that that is not a distraction. And I
Mm.
don't like the way the NFL handles it. And
Mhm.
I honestly think that the best thing of all would be if all teams could not do crap
Until after
until
the Super
after
Bowl.
the season is over.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that would eliminate a lot of these problems. But that's just one thing aside.
Mhm.
But the good news is we are going to survive this. We have the potential to get better. I
Mhm.
think it hurts right now, and all we can think about is the pain
Right.
of going through another situation. But let me lend a little perspective, if I may, on the other side of the coin here.
Please.
You are the youngest of six,
I am.
and I'm an old woman.
Okay.
So Mama Mundy is very old, and Mama Mundy remembers the 4 Super Bowl losses in a row.
Mhm.
And there were a few things that I took away from those 4 losses in the 90s that I
Mhm.
never lost sight of after that, which is don't put your expectations out there so your heart can be broken.
Mm.
Always try to keep at least a piece of you real
Guarded. Mhm.
in
Yes.
the world.
Yeah.
And it's something that we all have to work on. It hurts.
Yeah, it does, because I actually I pride myself on being a realist, and a realist Bills fan, and I know a lot of times that everybody wants to be a fan. Fan is short for fanatic, and I get a lot of stuff on Twitter about that because people will call me negative or pessimist, but a lot of times I'm just trying to. I think that subconsciously I'm trying to guard myself from different things. But DT knows we had to recalibrate. We literally had an episode Momma Mundy called Recalibrate as they started to win because the expectations had to change. They were much better than we expected. Justus, it's funny because Momma Mundy kind of strikes on something a little bit sensitive because I don't know about you, Justus, but like I said 10-7 for the schedule preview. When the schedule came out, I was like, it's 10-7, and you and I went back and forth, and everybody eats his garbage, and we were talking about that type of stuff. But as they started to prove that they were something different and that the concept might be working, I adjusted and I recalibrated my expectations. And by the time the AFC Championship game last Sunday, I was supremely confident. I thought that we were the better team. I had watched Kansas City throughout the year struggle. They only scored 30 points twice, never over 30 points, and all of their games pretty much were one-score games. I was confident last week, Justus, and maybe that's maybe that's egg on my face, but I don't regret it. I just feel like I just feel bamboozled. I feel like I feel like a sucker, to be honest, man.
Ooh, a sucker.
Just because I thought we were better than them, Justus. I thought we were better than them. And DT's right, you had to play perfect, but That it just wasn't close. I know the game score was close, but I feel we were outclassed. I really do.
Let's put everything into perspective. Okay, we started off with you saying 10-7 just get into the playoffs. Right?
Absolutely.
Then we also talk about they won by 3 points. Okay, I know that the refs isn't something you want to acknowledge or whatever. There's a 5-minute clip of there being subjective refereeing happening in that game. Okay, so if I take a dynasty, maybe the greatest team that has ever been assembled, and you mentioned your big brother, you could never beat your big brother. You know what I bet? I bet your big brother had his parents' favor.
I ain't touching that one with a 10-foot pole. My mama be listening.
I know it. Hey, I've been there. Okay, I know what it's like. Your big brother has, they got the favor of the parent. The NFL. Clearly, there is an agenda. Look, I don't care.
I can't. I can't get into conspiracy theories.
Hold on, but you have to let me put it all into perspective.
Okay, go ahead.
10-7, get into the playoffs. Going to see. You know what I said? I said 14-3.
Yeah, I know you did.
And we should have been.
That's basically our record if we played the last game. Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So 10-7, just get into the playoffs. You also said that they were out coached. Now, if you have a roster that you thought best case scenario 10-7 get into the playoffs in the AFC Championship game down 3 points to a dynasty, that would suggest that coaching is actually very good. Not only Joe Brady, I understand the criticisms of Joe Brady, I really do, but there is extreme limitations to that offense. He did what he thought was going to put us in the best position with the talent, working with it now, the last drive, not running James Cook, all that other stuff. I'm not saying that there aren't, things that go without fault. Dalton Kincaid, the drop, like there were things that we did that we could have won the game. I'm not saying that we're completely absolved of this. I'm simply saying you said that you felt bamboozled, right?
Yes, I did.
A team that you didn't believe in, let's be honest, right?
In the beginning.
No. Fair, that's fair.
But
and I'm not just singling you out. I don't mean to make it feel like an attack.
You're fine.
Because this is like a macro perspective. Nobody really believed in the Bills to start the season, except for like a few of us here in Buffalo, right?
Right. Okay.
So a team that nobody really believed in to start the season, and then they started winning games, and you're like, oh, well, the Bills are still the Bills. It's like, but that's not really fair. You know what I mean? Like, you have to give them respect for what they did and what they accomplished with what they had. You know what I mean? You got a Stephon Diggs contract that really bit you in the butt. You got a Von Miller contract that really bit you in the butt, and you're still paying for both of those contracts to this day, right? So Brandon Beane had less than nothing. In fact, he was in the red to start the offseason last year, and he still put a team that could go to the AFC conference game on the field. And not only that, but a team that went to the AFC conference game, lost by 3 points, and has a 5-minute clip of the other team having favor. So that's what I'm saying. You have to put it all into perspective.
DT.
As a macro whole,
it's always something, though.
I'm not saying that it's not, but this particular season, you have to put it into perspective. I listen.
So you're basically trying to say that we overachieved. So are you trying to say that we overachieved and I should be happy with the performance?
Not necessarily that you should be happy. I'm not
just
saying
not
that,
bamboozled. Just not bamboozled.
Not bamboozled.
Okay.
I can see that. I mean, it was okay to have high expectations. It was okay to expect to win that game because I think we should have.
I thought we were better.
Talented enough too.
We were better.
I thought we were
you
better.
Go back and but the point is, it's always something. We weren't ready in the first AFC title. 13 seconds could have went either way, but it didn't go our way because, like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's always something. Like, we weren't ready, and 13 seconds was there. Then we need them at home. We had injuries. We couldn't beat them at home. Now
Cincinnati gets flushed away with DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah,
That was a
now
weird
we
ass
get 'em.
game.
Now we're better. Now we're ready. Now this is the game where it's Josh's team and we're in a different flow and we starting to have some of those characteristics
Mm-hmm.
that Kansas City has. Like that was what was different this year. We had that underlying feel to us, that flow to us that was like the Kansas City, because it's always going to be something. You're never going to have the perfect roster. You could have the best roster in the NFL and get bounced. Look at San Francisco. You know, you have to look like it's never going to be perfect. You have to have the it. You have to have the flow. And that's what Kansas City has, and nobody else has it. And we were close to having it this year. We really were. But we obviously weren't there. We're not old enough yet, Rob. Our big brother's still getting us. But we're getting stronger. We're getting in the weight room this year, and we're gonna get to game point again, and eventually we're gonna cash it. And that's what I believe. But we have to have that it factor. And we don't have it. We were close this year, but it's always something. It's the refs, or it's we're not ready, or it's we had the injuries, or it's never going to be perfect.
I
It's never going to be
genuinely
perfect.
understand when your all-pro quarterback goes down in the second quarter. What can you do about that? You have Kyer Elam actively being barbecue grilled, pan fried, oven baked on the field.
Oh man, I understand.
I'm not
I
trying
know.
to make excuses,
It
but
sounds like it.
circumstances also count. Like they matter.
Okay, let's get into it. Momma Mundy. Let's move the show forward then. What happened? You know what I mean? Because first of all, I'm not going to accept the refs. And here's why I will. Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew, I don't want you to get sucked into this because I've seen it on Twitter all week long. And Justus
let's break down the game.
And Justus has been a part of it.
See it.
I can't talk about the refs. And the reason why I can't talk about the refs is because of what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, DT. If I thought that it was rigged like WWF, then I would not watch. I would not have this podcast. You guys would not be on with me right now. I do not believe that there is an agenda for some mid-market team in the Midwest to have all of the glory because of a singer. Or whatever. I don't even know what the theories are.
I hope
you
not.
Kansas City. I don't know. Listen, Justus, respectfully, I can't go down that road with you because I feel like a maniac. I feel like I'm talking about UFOs and stuff like that. Listen.
We just spent thousands of dollars and years of our lives on this team. If it was rigged, we would be idiots.
We would be dummies. Listen, the third, whatever down it was for that 1 yard gain on that drive. I understand that it seemed like Momma Mundy. When you look at it on TV, that yellow line, it seemed like he got it. They said that he didn't get it. I understand that they said that it was two different refs and one ran on this line and the other one ran on the other line. And Josh happened to pass the ball to the other guy, to the other ref, and he marked us short. They reviewed it. And then they said that we were short. If we got screwed on that, fine. They scored. We were up. We were up 22-21. Then we had the ball down 3 with 3 minutes and 33 seconds to go with all 3 timeouts. This is the second consecutive year that our quarterback has had an opportunity to lead us down the field to win the game or to tie the game, and they did it. I understand he doesn't kick field goals, so that's on Tyler Bass last year.
Drop passes.
I understand he's not the receiver. I knew you were getting ready to say that, so he's not Stephon Diggs or Trent Sherfield. But I can't go down the road of refs, Momma Mundy. What happened? When we talked about Joe Brady, you talked about that for a quick second, Momma Mundy. I heard that Joe Brady was locked up in the facility for 5 days away from his family. We got that word. That's the best that you can come up with is tush push and then getting stuffed and not making adjustments. That's the best that you can come up with. I just don't know what happened. And it seems like there's blame to go around. How about that?
Me that being distracted by being interviewed for a head coaching position doesn't cause distraction in your head. Yes. It does. Whether you say, oh no, I'm totally focused and blah, 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 you simply do not physically have as much mental energy and time to devote to putting a game plan together. And so you wonder why you saw a lot of the same things that you saw during the regular season. That's not what happens with Andy Reid, is it? Andy Reid is a genius at play calling. He pulls stuff out of his hat like nobody else in the league, including Bill Belichick, whatever you want to say about Belichick as a coach. But Andy Reid is the best play caller I have ever seen. And I've watched a lot of football. And so you have a junior in Joe Brady. Okay, he may turn out to be great at some point in time. He's still young at the position. Okay. But when you are distracted because half of your mind is going, do I want to interview with the Saints or do I interview with the Jets? Or, all of that stuff is in there. And I don't care what anybody says, it's a distraction. And so that's number one. Number two, go into, you want to know what happened? I disagree completely, with all due respect, to Joe Marino, who said on his podcast the other day, well, I opened up and I started looking at the all 22. And at first I expected to see that Josh Allen was nervous. Well, he wasn't nervous because he had blah, blah, blah pressuring him and blah, blah, blah. I respectfully disagree. Josh Allen had the yips again. We have seen this with him before when he was younger in his career, but also we see it at time to time, it comes out. He was nervous. That's why, if he has somebody in his face, what do we know about Josh? When he's focused and in his flow, he just moves around and he sees the open receivers. He wasn't seeing the field.
He started the game off erratic. He looked like he was nervous.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes.
And then Auntie could finish. I didn't see the first drive. I was trying to find parking downtown.
Well, he looked crazy.
So,
he looked crazy.
He looked respectfully, crazy. I've heard that. So I'm not disputing that at all. However, I did not see the first drive. So from my perspective,
he had 2 would-be picks on the first drive.
I'm just saying, from my perspective of when I watched the game, when I started watching the game to when I finished watching the game, Josh Allen had a really good game. He made some crazy throws. All right. So I'm not saying that the first drive doesn't matter or doesn't count, but I don't know if he was nervous or whatever, but if he was, then he got out of it real quick.
Perhaps. And in fairness, some of his inaccuracy in the second half may be attributed to the fact that he had a broken hand. And we did not know that. And so I will grant you that. And it's entirely possible, you're right, Justus, that he resolved those yips rather quickly. But let me add that first drive that you missed was an opportunity that he missed because he was yipped up.
That's fair.
And if they score on that first drive, instead of going 1, 2, 3 and out, then the whole mindset of the game changes. So you don't know what's going to happen, in advance. You can't say what was going to happen, but he did pull his stuff together. I do think that was the case, but I also think that at the very beginning of the game, he was out of sorts. And that can't happen at this point in his career. He has got to get better control of his emotions before the game starts. And I don't know what he needs to do. I think maybe Dr. Dez, the sports psychologist that works with the Bills, might be able to help him, maybe with his breathing. There's a lot of techniques that you can use to kind of get yourself out of that state of mind, but it's very real. It's very real.
DT, I don't know. I mean, that first drive was interesting and stuff like that, but one of the things is that, it seems like it's always, DT's gone. Well, it just always seems like there's an excuse and there's a reason or different things like that. Listen, I understand that last blitz was an amazing call by Spagnuolo, and I understand that Josh, had an amazing throw to Kincaid. Kincaid drops it. I'm not blaming Kincaid or anything like that. That would have been a tough catch, but I still need my players to help out Josh, so it can't all be on 17. I need him to have support. Where is the defense? Where is the defense? Now, if you want to speak to that, Justus, and defend McDermott, you can. Where? Because you already know that's my number one problem with him, is that he's a defensive-minded coach, and in the playoffs he does not have answers for the great quarterbacks. He does not have answers for Burrow the one time we face him, and he's never had answers for 15. He's never had answers for him. And that's my number one problem. DT, before you dropped out, I was saying that my number one problem is McDermott. We are now, Josh Allen is an all-world a future Hall of Fame quarterback. He's 0-4 against Mahomes, and I lay much of it at the feet of the head coach. You are a defensive-minded head coach. They were talking about stats this week on WGR that were making my mind melt. Literally, they average like 4 points per drive against us, which is historically horrible. I don't get it. He never has answers for him, and I can't make excuses for him anymore. If he's a defensive-minded coach and Babbage is running his defense, I don't know, man. I can't let him slide on this, man. I'm sorry. I can't.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, there's no other coach that's stopping the Chiefs either, you know?
Oh,
like,
I hear that
right?
all the time.
But
they do better than us. They do better. Houston did better than us.
Yeah.
The Bengals held them to whatever, no points or 3 points in the second half that one year when they went to the Super Bowl. They've had other teams that had success. Baltimore held them to 17 points and still lost because they couldn't get their shit together last year. They should have been in the Super Bowl. I don't buy that. I don't.
Well, let's break down the game quick. Like, I just want to, like, a top to bottom, because that's like the sequence of this game was really that was what was bothersome to me. Like, so we come out, Josh is a little flaky, right? We start a little erratic. We punt. They go down, score touchdown, 7-0. Get the ball back, regroup, nice drive to go down and get 6, 7-7. Now, the middle of the game, obviously, it gets to that halfway point. They're getting the ball at half. It could have got away from us right there when it's 21-10, right before halftime. And they come down. Josh, one of the better throws, a highlight throw to Matt Collins. Great. We make it respectable. What do we need after halftime? Stop, score, stop. Stop, score, stop. What exactly happened? Stop, score, stop. So, like, McDermott, there you go. Like, you're there. You're following the script we needed now, but it obviously all comes down to the end. Get the lead, trade the scores, don't get the first down. They forced them to the field goal, which was big. Josh Allen gets the ball, 3 minutes left. We know how it ends. So that's McDermott did get the stop at the end too.
The one, okay.
But you're right. Like, it felt overall the edge we needed, the spark we needed. Spagnuolo with one of the best defensive calls on fourth down ever. Them getting a first down with Samaje Perine. I don't know if we weren't just trying at that point or what at the very, very end.
I know what you mean. Yeah, but you could have made a stop and got the ball back.
But it just seemed like exactly the composure at the end on the offensive side of the ball was they're composed. The Bills come out, just sneak it. Just sneak it. That's what it felt like. And that is unacceptable. So I agree with you, Rob, in the fact the sequence of the game, he made the stops he needed, but the gut of the game was frantic, and the gut of the game cost us the game.
Justus, I mean, what do you say about McDermott then? So what do you say? I have a defensive-minded head coach. I've always wanted an offensive coach for Josh to lead him. I wanted Dable. Obviously, the Pagulas were never firing McDermott to keep Dable when it was time for him to leave. I get that. I'm not an idiot. We've got him. What do you bring to the table? If your contemporaries have found a ways to stop Mahomes at least a little bit, or at least slow him down, and you can't. What do I say? What do I do with that as I walk into the offseason? Tell me. And I'm being sincere.
Sean McDermott was a head coach of the year candidate this year.
Okay.
No problem. We could. Last year I wanted him fired, so this is coming from me. Sean McDermott coached his ass off this season.
Okay.
Playoffs and all. Okay. You get into a game, Broncos give up 7, don't score another point.
You're supposed to do that.
Hold Lamar, and he did it. Hold Lamar Jackson to 25 points and basically make it so that Josh Allen really doesn't even really need to do much in order to win a football game in the playoffs versus essentially the best team in the league. Most talented team in the league for sure outside of the Eagles, right? Then you get to the Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid is not chopped liver. Not only that, but last year you had Balin Spector on the field with, what was he matched up with? He was matched up with Tyler Maddock.
I'm talking about Sunday.
Okay, cool. So now this year, Kyer Elam again was getting pan-fried. They were literally going to him every play. At a certain point during the game, it was not a play where they weren't going to Kyer Elam. He was out there point shaving at a certain point. He got a
Straight
slant route. No, Rob, listen to me. Listen to me. Juju Smith-Schuster ran a slant route, and Kyer Elam ended up 45 yards downfield. How is Sean McDermott supposed to coach that?
Well, yeah, but why is Sean McDermott putting him out there? Why is Sean McDermott putting him out there? We knew Christian Benford had a concussion.
He only can use what he has. He's a first-round pick.
We knew
he's got a point. You got to either put up or shut up.
We knew he was concussed the week before. This week, we expect him to play 4 quarters? No, we have a backup plan. What's the backup plan? 5? That's not a good enough backup plan.
So you don't play Christian Benford at all in the game. Then what happens? What difference is it?
That's the point. The backup plan wasn't good enough, and that's on McDermott. The backup plan wasn't good enough, and that's on McDermott.
Momma Mundy. Okay, so I understand what Justus is essentially saying is that what is he supposed to do? He's trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. I understand that premise.
Y'all said 10-7, hopefully make the playoffs.
I'm talking about that game. I had to adjust my expectations.
The roster's not good, Rob. It's not good. It's not talented enough to win a Super Bowl. So for them to even be 3 points down to a dynasty is insane.
Momma Mundy.
That's good coaching.
Momma Mundy.
Well, yeah. Wow.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
No, you stop apologizing.
I love y'all.
Stop apologizing. I don't want us all to agree. Please stop apologizing. I'm not looking for us all to agree.
No,
I'm looking to go into the offseason and feel better, if possible.
This is very healthy. This is very, very healthy to have this kind of a discussion because all of us need to be open-minded about what happened. All of that we're processing in our head. I'm hearing what Justus is saying. I'm hearing what you're saying, Rob. I'm hearing all of it. And all of it, to some extent, makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. It does. Everything that I've heard so far, yes. But it doesn't answer the original question, which you asked is, what happened, right? What happened? And I guess maybe what we can say is if we can't have some kind of consensus about what happened, then maybe our assumptions aren't correct. And we all need to just listen more to each other because you're all making very good points here. And the one thing that I would only add to that, what you're saying is that, and Justus, you said it, how do you beat Andy Reid in his play calling? Because he is not chopped liver. He's not a hamburger. He's a steak. He's a filet mignon. He's the best.
Aged.
And so that in itself is hard enough to deal with. But I also hear what Justus is saying in terms of when there's repeated calls that are made that are dicey, that makes the whole thing more complicated. But listen to what Sean McDermott said in his press conference, because this actually kind of surprised me. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about this, because when he was asked about the refs, he basically commented by saying he didn't deny it. He did not deny that the refs were an issue in the game. What he said was, you have to play better. You have to play better to overcome them. He didn't say, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he inferred, that you have to play good enough to beat the champions and the bad calls that you're going to get from the refs. Did I understand him correctly?
Yes.
James Cook said the same thing.
Brandon Bean said the same thing.
James Cook said the same thing too. I don't care about the refs. We need to play better.
Yeah. You knew what you had. You knew you had to be perfect. And
so now, real quick, and then I'll shut up.
Yeah.
You take that, right? You take a team that nobody thought was good enough to actually win, right? And then you put them up against the dynasty that went undefeated for all intents and purposes, if it wasn't for you specifically. And then you get to a game where you're tied in the or whatever. I think it was tied in the fourth quarter or something. and then you lose the possession, like, and then there's a 5-minute video about them holding favors. So now you have to play better with a lesser roster, with lesser coaches, with lesser dogs, with lesser blue chip players, and against them and the referees. And somehow you only lost that game by 3. To me, that would suggest, wow, you did almost everything you could. Like, it's all about the cards you are dealt, what you do with them, right? I felt like every single wrench that was thrown at them, they found a way to be like, all right, and dodge it. Maybe they got nicked in the cheekbone a little bit or whatever, but they dodged it, right? Josh Allen gets a corner, the most brilliant play call maybe in playoff history. A corner blitz on 4th down, and he somehow puts it in a position where Dalton Kincaid can catch the ball. Yeah. I hear it, tough catch. If you watch that from the end zone view, I expect any wide receiver in the National Football League to catch that ball.
I understand.
Okay, so if Josh is able to put that ball in that position, you are making lemonade with lemons at that point.
Go ahead, DT.
Okay, now can I add on to that? The defense, because that's what I really also want to talk to you guys about. Like, I appreciate what Justus is saying, because this defense has not been all that good all year long.
No. They've been masked by turnovers. They've been masked. It was deodorant. With the turnovers were deodorant, period. And you could not predict turnovers. I've said that all year.
Yep. Okay. And one other question I have when it comes to defense, I want to know what you guys think about this. Please tell me your thoughts about Taron Johnson in the last few games.
I think, it was very similar to what we saw in Poyer and Hyde in their last couple of years. We playmakers, gets turnovers, makes plays, but lost a little step. And I noticed that. Noticed that.
I did too.
The perception is reality of, if we win this game and win the Super Bowl, which we were very close to doing and very close to this team doing, well, this is a great team. We want to re-sign everybody. DeMar Hamlin's sick. Kyer Elam. Oh, remember when he sucked, but now he's good. Like, the perception would be this team's the best. Now we're a couple seconds away, a couple inches away from that same team, and we're overhauling everybody. And I get that's the business, but we do have to get better. We do, because everything needs to happen our way. It talks about the bounces and the luck and making your own luck, and the Chiefs get the bounces.
But if you run a 4-2-5 defense as your base, and your guy, your nickel corner has lost a step,
you're in trouble. Yeah,
exactly. So is it time for Sean McDermott to maybe rethink his base defense?
Well, I think we weren't good enough, right?
I was just going to say, to be fair, at this point, Taron Johnson is the leader of your defense. You have to have him on field.
They do. No,
in
I
a
understand.
cover situation, that's tough. But the bounces got to go your way, and everyone said, oh, that Kincaid catch would have been like our David Tyree, our Julian Edelman before the overtime of the Patriots comeback. Yeah, like that crazy playoff catch to like seal it and score after that. But I disagree. Our breaks came when 17 put the ball on the ground 3 times.
Thank you.
Got it back every single time.
Thank you.
When 22 put the ball on the ground and got it back. Those were our breaks.
He had 3 fumbles.
So, yeah, it would have been storybook for Dalton Kincaid, but we had our breaks, folks. We had our breaks. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. You can smirk at that, Justus, but that's the.
I don't really think one has anything to do with the other.
No.
I respect the opinion.
The macro is that you're looking to say, well, Dalton Kincaid, any receiver makes that catch in the NFL. My thing is that you already used up your luck. You already
so
who fumbles the ball 3 times and gets them all back.
So for me, I believe in a big bang, right? Not that I don't believe in God. I absolutely believe in a higher power. I'm not saying that. I believe in causality, right? Everything happened because something happened. So I'm not saying that you don't have a valid point with the fumbles being recovered by the offense every time, but that has nothing to do with Dalton Kincaid needs to catch that football.
No, I understand that linearly it doesn't have anything to do with it, but I'm talking about the fact that I just feel like there's no more excuses. Like, you already used up your luck. You already got lucky. You shouldn't even have been in that position is what I'm saying. This game could have gone totally different had the ball, which is
so what about the 5 minutes of luck the Chiefs got?
Oh man,
But it's
No, because if you're going to say that, you
there.
have to also acknowledge the other
No,
half.
I'm not
right?
going there with you, man.
But-
They didn't.
But you
I'm not
can't
going there with
only
you.
be
With
you can't
penalties.
only be detrimental to the like it. You have to see both sides. No,
So
I'm not arguing with you anything you guys are
Sure.
saying. We didn't
But,
play
like-
good enough. Like they made mistakes. They put the ball. I'm not disagreeing with you guys at all. I'm just simply saying you guys are making it seem like, yo, the Bills, they really blew their opportunity. They did, you know what I mean? And like, I'm not saying that they didn't blow their opportunity, but I don't think I don't think it was.
You don't think it was
100%.
fair.
The Bills
the
just
only
crapped the bed.
positive,
Like there were circumstances that were 100% against them that they couldn't control.
the only positive I took from Sunday, like I hear you, Justus, but like the only positive I took from Sunday is I could have somewhat closure knowing it was a team loss, top to
Thank
bottom
you.
team loss.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't get the calls. We
Every-
got out coached. We didn't execute on offense. We didn't make the stops on defense. We let up a bad special teams play.
Yes.
It was a team loss. And so, yes, we did maybe get screwed on a few calls, but we also shit the bed on the other three that we needed, you know? So it was a team loss, and I can accept that it was a team loss. Good wasn't good enough, and we were good. We had to be great because things would be against us. The refs were against whatever, but we had to be great to overcome that, and we weren't, and that's the point.
Hogwash. I mean hogwash. I as we transition tonight, this afternoon's episode is presented by 26 Shirts here on Buffalo FanBase, the official Bills Mafia podcast network that DT and I simulcast on. Head on over to 26shirts.com for all of your latest Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Sabres, Buffalo City themed t-shirts. Again, portions of the proceeds go to a great cause. They're going to be positively affecting a family that is in need across Western New York, across the world. Again, salute to the Godfather Del Reed, who is running a great site over there. Head on over to 26shirts.com. And again, you won't be sorry that you did. You'll be helping out a family in need. As we try to transition, I feel like I'm trying to turn the car.
I just want to ask one question, and again, I'll shut up.
Go ahead. Okay. I'm trying to turn the car. Go ahead.
All right, Robyn DT and Auntie Robyn. If Josh Allen had an all-pro defensive tackle and all-pro cornerback,
no, that's what I wanted to turn the car to,
and a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator, would you guys expect him to win this football game?
Yes, that's
by a lot. Actually, you would expect them to kind of be a blowout, right?
That's what I wanted to turn the car to. I know where you're going. I know where you're going. Momma Mundy, I think that one of the consensuses that I've heard throughout this week, and I agree with, and Justus is just alluding to it, we do not have blue chippers on defense. Now, Sean McDermott says at the end of this press conference, he says, you know, I ideally think that you need at least 2 to 3 studs, the best at their position, or top 3 or 5, he said, at their position on both offense and defense. So that's 6 players between offense and defense that can change, that are game changers. I will concede, huh?
How many Bills got?
I will concede that on the defensive side of the ball, I can't name, maybe Taron Johnson, elite.
Not an elite.
For nickel corners. He's top 3 nickel corner in the league. Outside of Taron Johnson, we do not have one. So I can give them that. Offensively, Josh, maybe James Cook is coming into his own. So at minimum, you've got 3 out of 6. You need another one on offense, and you need 2 more on defense, if not a 3rd one on defense. I will give you that. I'll give you that. Momma Mundy. Do you agree? Do you agree with Sean McDermott's assessment?
I do, but I'll say this again. I've said it before on our other podcast. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it again. For 5 years, 5 years, and y'all know what's coming. For 5 years, I have begged, pleaded, I don't know, put it out to the gods. Please, can we have a one technique defensive tackle in the draft? Please. I need a nose tackle. I need a big guy, please. For 5 years, I've begged for it. I'm done.
Ed Oliver's pretty undersized, DT. He is not what Momma Mundy is talking about. He is not Chris Jones.
Or Jalen Carter. And who's in the Super Bowl? Chris Jones and Jalen Carter. So
Thank you.
They say the game's won on the line of scrimmage, Justus. Now, do you agree with Sean McDermott's assessment? Because I clearly feel that you do, because that's what you've kind of been alluding to this entire episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
We lack blue chippers on that side of the ball.
Agree. Like, I know giving Sean McDermott crap and giving Leslie Frazier crap all those years, like, I get it. And I understand, like, where it comes from, because you, like, whatever, get it done. Like, who cares about the excuses? Get it done. You either get it done or you don't. So I understand where you guys are coming from. Like, I get the perspective. However, if I'm looking at it, like, I pretend I'm Brandon Beane a lot. Okay. So if I'm looking at it as if I'm the general manager of the Bills and I look at this season and I'm like, okay, we have a blue chip player in terms of offensive line. That's a player right there. Right. We have a blue chip player in Josh Allen. James Cook also, I would say he is becoming a blue chip player. Outside of that, Khalil Shakir is surprisingly good, but he's not like a great receiver. You know what I mean? Like, he's really good for what we need him for, and he come through for us a lot. Extremely reliable, but he's not like Antonio Brown, or I mean, not Antonio Brown, AJ Brown. You know what I mean? Like, Dalton Kincaid is not Mark. Well, they acted like Mark Andrews, but like, you know, they're not blue chip players. So that is why I say Joe Brady did good to this season, because you get 30 touchdowns, 30 rushing touchdowns, 30 passing touchdowns. With this offense, you use your strengths to your advantage. Defense,
because the offensive line has been very good all year round.
Exactly. And so on defense, imagine if Sean McDermott's defense, you muted, Rob. Imagine if Sean McDermott's defense had a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby, a Hawkinson, no, not Hawkinson, Hendrickson, Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
If this defense had one of those the past 4 or 5 years, we're Super Bowl champions at least 2 to 3 times. Now, imagine if we had a Trey Hendrickson and, let's say, a Minkah Fitzpatrick or a Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, that's what we need. Somebody on the back end.
Oh, my God. And a Marlon Humphrey. Like, the Ravens not having any Super Bowls is absolutely bonkers, because they have a fantastic roster every year.
Which brings up a good point
players
to discuss during the off season, because the jury is in now. Brandon Beane needs to draft better.
Yeah. In the first round, absolutely. In the first couple rounds, absolutely.
First couple rounds, yeah.
He kills those mid to late rounds, but in the first couple rounds, it's not.
Because Dalton Kincaid is starting to look like I don't know,
a bust, but
it's not what they told us that he was going to be when they drafted him. A matchup nightmare. I do not see
this was
one.
His prime opportunity, bro. You don't have a number one receiver. This was your shot to go out and be an elite player in the league,
like a Brock Bowers and stuff like that. It didn't happen.
Or Sam Laporta.
Yeah,
oh God, I wish we drafted Sam Laporta.
It didn't happen. So it's interesting, because I really do. I agree. That was one of the things from this week, and hearing all the narratives on WGR and all the callers, that I have to agree with, is that we lack blue chip talent on that side of the ball, and maybe offensively as well. Maybe we don't have the horses on offense either, in respects to the fact that I never respected everybody eats. Now, that's me personally. I know Justus wanted to try to gloat before the AFC Championship game.
I didn't respect everybody eats. I respected 17.
Okay, well, and I respect him too. I want him to have help, DT. I want him to have help. I don't want them to ever stop getting him help. So for me, everybody eats was almost a slap in the face to Josh Allen, and that's how I framed it throughout the season. And again, what did I say? Leading all the way up to the AFC Championship game, I said, well, if they get to the Super Bowl eventually, I'm going to have to shut the fuck up, because they're in the Super Bowl. But before that, I was saying that, listen, they need something better. I was happy when Beane went out and got Cooper, because I thought that it was going to help the offense. It did help the offense. They averaged 7 more points a game. I know people want to rail on Coop and say he didn't make any catches. I still believe that he drew defenses away from the other guys and helped them shine.
Absolutely.
DT. I think it's undeniable. DT, I never want to stop helping Josh Allen. I understand that we're going to focus on defense in the offseason. I want him to be top priority. Surround him with talent where we could outscore a team if we need to, where I'm not even thinking about the defense.
I agree 100%. We're going through the blue chips there, and I'm sorry for my technical difficulties here. My phone is literally it was literally smoking at one point. He said overheating emergency. This episode's hot.
Committed to the game.
I keep putting it out the window to cool it down because it's nice and about 15 degrees here today. So anyway, the blue chips, we're struggling to find the third. I mean, we get away with Josh Allen being 1.5.
Right.
and then the offense and the offensive, line is playing great this year, and they're all back next year. So I agree, though, bringing him somebody that can be a game changer. Jimmy Butler is, talking about getting traded in the NBA right now, and it's like, but he's a playmaker, he's a game changer, and whatever team he goes to, they get better.
They win,
and that's going to be, and they win exactly. So it's going to be like. It doesn't have to be T. Higgins. I know he's obviously the biggest name, in the market.
After that, it's over. After that, it's over. There's nobody else to even look at.
Trade, it is what it is. But there's these dudes coming out the last 4 or 5 years, coming out of drafts. The Justin Jeffersons, the Jamar Chases. Granted, they're all high picks, but there's other guys making impact.
How about just some speed? How about somebody that can stretch the field and
That's what Curtis Samuel was supposed to be.
Well, he wasn't. Turf toe means he wasn't. Last year was Deontay Hardy, and they didn't even fucking use him. So
exactly. And before that, it was Z Tovin. So it's just, they got it. I agree. Speed is, they're getting them. I like the big boy aspect, but now we got Keon Coleman. We got the athletic dude to get up there, and we got Shakir, and so we need that middle that. It looked like we were going to start using 18 in the beginning of this game to settle Josh down. Mm-hmm. Just start throwing to 18, get him loose, and get it. And okay, this is why we bring him. And then he kind of went away, whatever. And depending on the market, we're not going to give him a ton of money. But somebody like an Amari Cooper, this year's Amari Cooper is what we need, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now, as we begin to wrap up a little bit tonight, as we look ahead, I think that people that are calling for McDermott's head are wasting their breath, so to speak. I think that once again, we had an episode, I think it was last year in season 3, where I said that, the kids are yelling in the back seat, and we're yelling, and we want dad to pull over, and dad's not even listening to us. He's not paying any attention. So because of that, how do you guys feel about McDermott and the direction of the team being as we head into the offseason? Because he's not going anywhere. I've actually become resigned to the fact that I need to just shut up about wanting an offensive coach for Josh Allen. I view him much like Tomlin, Shanahan. They've had so much success that their owners would never consider it, because who am I going to replace this guy with when I've had so much success? So I give him his flowers for those AFC East titles. I understand we've won 5 straight and we're in position to win another one next year. I understand that he's won 12, 13 games every year, and that's very hard to do. I get it. I do not want them to be satisfied. So as we move into the offseason, I want to know, what is the plan? We are getting ready to take a break. This is the season finale of season 4, Nickel City Crew. Bills Mafia, Momma Mundy. What is the plan? What can I cling to for hope for the future as we head into this long off season? What's the plan? Because he's not going anywhere. So I'm going to start to shut up about that. He's not going anywhere. Pagula would never fire him. What's the plan?
Probably for you specifically, or I could say to everyone in general, but for you specifically, my son, my child.
Yes, Momma Mundy.
I really
make me feel better, please.
Want you to take a deep breath and lower your expectations, not in the sense of what you want to have happen, but just relax and let whatever happens, because it's out of your control. You can only control certain things. And I learned this, honest to God, you guys, I learned this in the 90s after the 4th Super Bowl loss. I did. I had to have a come to Jesus meeting with myself. Okay. I had to realize, okay, this is 4 times in a row. They've lost every time. Do I give up my fanhood? No, I wasn't ready to do that. Never, because it's born into us. But I had to find some way to be at peace. And that's my message to you, is find a way to be at peace with whatever happens.
Okay. Justus, General Radford, we appreciate your contributions tonight as we ride off into the off-season sunset. What do I cling to? Because Momma Mundy stole my notes. I mean, that's the last thing that I said. I'm not getting hyped for next year. I put it down on I'm not getting hyped. I'm just gonna watch every game. I'm gonna love my Bills because it's born into me. It's a part of me, and I can't shake that. But I'm not getting hyped. They can start the season 8-0. I'm not getting hyped. I'm not going to talk shit. I'm just going to sit back and watch and enjoy the season and be ready for the playoffs. And when the playoffs come, I won't get my expectations up. I was more nervous about the Baltimore game than I was the Kansas City game. I thought that Baltimore could trash us again. I didn't think it was going to be a blowout 35-10, but I was not confident that we were going to win that game, even though it was at home. That had no bearing on my feelings. I was nervous as hell. And y'all can go back and listen to it, Nickel City Crew, because y'all know that I was in that spirit. I was coming up with the menu, man. I was ready to grill and smoke meats and do everything next Sunday morning. I was going to wake up at 4 a.m. I knew we were going to beat them. I thought we were better. What do I cling on to, Justus? Send me into the offseason with something. Send me into the offseason with something, man, other than the fucking refs. Because me and you, I'll fight you every damn day over the refs on Twitter. I can do that in my sleep. Send me into the offseason with some hope, man. What do I cling to?
Okay, so Auntie Robyn, my brother Rob, those were wise words from some really great and brilliant people. Okay, be cautious. Don't get your hopes up. Like I respect that message. That's not where I'm going. I'm going in a completely different direction. All right, listen. Going into next season, there's not a team in the NFL other than if the Eagles win the Super Bowl that should feel better about next season than the Buffalo Bills.
Explain.
You just had Josh Allen go absolutely go crazy.
Okay,
right?
Sure. He was
with
clean.
Mac Hollins as his most reliable receiver, or Khalil Shakir and Mac Hollins as the most reliable receiver.
Right.
You get an offseason pro. I do think we'll resign Amari Cooper. And because he didn't have really a great season with us, we'll probably get him at a discount. And he likes winning. He already said that. He already said that he don't care about production. He just wants to win. So you're going to win here. You get an offseason program with Josh Allen. We've seen him make dynamic catches this season. You get an offseason program with Josh Allen and, incorporated into the offense. 31. That looks absolutely different.
He's going to be 31, so he's
that looks absolutely different next season. Okay, 34. All right, 31. He'll be okay. I'm not saying he's at his peak, but he's wiser. He's a better route runner than he's ever been. He'll be good, right?
Okay.
Brandon Beane is going to go get Josh another weapon, another wide receiver.
He better.
Is he going to get him a defensive tackle, number one?
So that's what I was going to say. You have a little bit more money to work with. You can restructure Josh again. You can restructure. There's a lot of things that Brandon Beane can do to get some money this offseason. He has more money than he's had to work with in a little while, right?
Okay.
So I have one of, if not the best offensive line in the league.
Correct.
James Cook is back. You're going to get Amari Cooper hopefully back again. You're going to get another dynamic receiver to add to that, along with Khalil Shakir, and Mac Hollins is coming back. I promise you, right? And then you got to. I genuinely do think he's going to focus on the defense for the most part. If you get Josh Allen one more weapon to add to what he already has, I think it'll be good. And you keep Amari Cooper, but then if you focus on the defense, Buffalo Bills could literally go undefeated next season.
Oh God!
They lost. They lost 3 games this season. One game, Josh Allen dropped 50 on the Lions with this offense. Whoa. He dropped 45 on the Rams with the Rams, who have a great defense, and Jared versus a dog.
Yes,
40 on with this offense.
Okay.
In domes, Josh Allen went absolutely crazy, which means that without extenuating factors and extra, Josh Allen is the best football player on the planet. Okay, and he plays in Orchard Park, and nobody wanted a dome for whatever reason,
which was stupid. Yep.
I'll never understand.
DT.
Next season, the Buffalo Bills will be Super Bowl contenders again, potentially undefeated, and they'll be so good that you won't have to worry about the refs because they'll be beating the Chiefs by 20 points going into the fourth quarter.
DT.
All right.
Send
I'm
me into
down.
the off season.
I'm right down the middle
with
between
something to cling on.
between the wisdom and between the pump up. I'm right down the middle. You know, I'm not going to lose my passion for the season and just letting it I can let it ride and enjoy every football Sunday, because football Sundays, Thursdays, Mondays, whatever they are when the Bills play game day is amazing, and it always will be. And
That's
we
right.
love it. And next year's tailgate reports will be great, and we're going to enjoy our time. And that's why we love the Bills so much, is because it is part of this whole fall. It's just something to be great. So I'm going to enjoy it. But I also think, yes, we get back to the drawing board of getting that little Rick Ross look, that little lip lift, and we go out and we get after it. I mean, we make splashes. We go all in. We do something. I'm not saying as crazy as what the Rams did a couple years ago with not having a first-round pick ever again, but just the fact
I'd
of
be okay with
going
that.
in, getting some guys. We know 17's capable, so let's get some superstars in here and make a push, make the run, because we got to be perfect to beat this freaking Chiefs team. So we got to keep adding weapons. So I'm down for going all in. Obviously, we have to hit on our draft picks. I think any video game listeners out there will kind of relate to this. Like a hard game, you can kind of get through in that last level. The final boss is just hard, right? It's the hardest. Obviously, it's the final one. And how many times you die and you got to keep going back, and it becomes a point where the game up until the final boss just becomes second nature. You're just getting through it to get to the final boss,
Right.
and we
like
need
punch
to
out,
be
like
we
punch
can't
out
be
trying to get to Mike
unfocused.
Tyson.
Yeah.
Like punch out.
We can't be unfocused in that. We can't be unfocused in that, but we have to make it second nature. So that's what McDermott and Josh and Brady and any other core member of this team needs to focus on. Let's get through the season as second nature, and what are we doing differently in the final boss level? What are we doing differently in the final boss level? It has to be second nature. We have to go through this somewhat coasting to get to the final boss, and then that's what we're working on. So that's where I think we are. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of next season. I'm going to get pumped up. I can't wait for, that we can get into the spring and start talking about it rather than feeling this darkness over us that we got going right now. But we got to be ready to go. I think we go all in. We make some wild plays, screw caps, screw draft picks. Just go try to get one. And we've tried to do it in all the ways. I'm not saying we're giving up, but the core's there. Go get some superstars, and let's
roll.
Yeah, go get a Max Crosby.
Josh Allen has a Tom Brady Randy Moss season next year. I promise you.
Oh man, I love it.
I promise you guys. I promise you.
Oh man,
Joe Brady had no receivers to work with, and he put up the numbers he did. Get him Amari Cooper in the offseason program and a superstar receiver.
I don't know where the superstar receiver's coming from. That's all I mean by that. So that means we got to draft one. You have to draft one.
That's fine. That'd be even better. Hey, trade that 30 or 29 pick, whatever it is. 30. Trade that and next year's. Go move into the top 8 to 13 and get a superstar. I've been saying this for years. Get rid of them first round picks. He's terrible at them anyway. He drafts better in the third through fourth round anyway. Third through seventh round anyway. Trade it away. We don't need it.
Okay. All right. Listen, I sincerely, I just appreciate both of your time today, Justus and Momma Mundy. I really do. I really do salute you guys and appreciate you all season. Listen, Nickel City crew, almost 1,000 people watching today. We really appreciate you guys. I know I could speak for DT when I say that season 4 has been a really a resounding success. Shout out to our creative director, Olivia Nagel, who has helped make us look so much better on social media, because again, I am not tech savvy, so I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And she hooks up all the promos and the songs and makes us look really, really good. So we really would not be able to do it without her. Shout out to our sponsor this year, Queen City Vintage, for the giveaways. We really appreciate that. That helped out with fan engagement, helped us get more followers, and just talk to more members of the Mafia. So we really appreciate you guys, Nick and you guys at Queen City Vintage. DT, you know I love you like a brother from another mother, man. You are my Bills brother. I cannot wait. Personally, on a personal level, I cannot wait to get season tickets again next year and get them back and be with you. He just fell out again, but he knows how much I feel. I will be back in the building for the final season at the Ralph, my home. That's my home. When they say where else would you rather be than right here, right now, that is literally how I felt. Anytime I hear that, it gives me chills because Marv Levy was so absolutely correct in that statement. I would never want to be anywhere else than right there on a Sunday morning. Princess Ivy came this year, so I had to be there for my baby girl, my first daughter, and that's why I skipped this year. But I promise you, she is old enough to hang out with her mama and aunties next year. I am going to be right back in the building next year. I am going to be right back in the building next year with my partner in crime, DT. So, DT, I can't wait to be back with you next year. I'm really looking forward to it. What a historical season as we close up on the Ralph next year. It's going to be a lot of emotion, some great opponents. I saw the opponent list. It looks killer. I expect a lot of night games again, DT, and prime times because that schedule looks killer for those home opponents. So
you got to put Josh Allen and Jamar Chase in prime time.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I agree.
I agree.
It's gonna be
so many cool.
It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have to bring the truck to the last game because we're just gonna unbolt our seat and take it with us. And,
I love it. I love that
great.
idea.
So,
yeah.
No, thanks, Rob. What a great season for Nickel City Crew. I think we would say this is our biggest one yet, and
absolutely. I agree.
And more to come. We're just kind of tipping the iceberg with what we can do. Thanks, Justus and Momma Mundy. You guys obviously always great. It's a good year. A lot of enjoyment. I'm gonna go watch some Josh Allen highlights this afternoon, I think, and just hey, we should be grateful. It's a great thing to be. It's a great place to be right now, and we're gonna run it back. We're gonna run it back. It's okay. It's okay to feel bad about this one, but when we kick next September and 17 runs back out there, we're back, baby. We're back.
Yeah,
so thank you for a great season. I really enjoyed it again, Rob, and look forward to doing it again.
Yeah, man, I love you guys for sure. I appreciate you, Momma Mundy. I appreciate you, Justus. Anytime I've ever reached out to you guys to come join us, you're always ready to, and I really truly appreciate that. Listen, Nickel City Crew, Bills Mafia, we are officially taking our break. We will not be doing a Super Bowl episode next week. None of that shit. This is it. We are signing off. Season 4 has been wonderful. Shout out to Richland Music, our theme song. We love you, Richland, and we really do appreciate you lending us the song and allowing us to use it for our brand. DT, this is it. So listen, I will holler at you sometime before the draft, brother. We will talk obviously before then, but other than that, hit them with a Go Bills. That's how we end every episode. Listen, spread love out there, not hate. This world is so full of hate. You see it every day, not just in social media. I'm talking in real life as you're walking out and about across the world. Please spread love, not hate. It is so much better that way. These were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Hit them with a Go Bills, y'all. Hit them with one.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Undefeated.
Oh, Go Bills. I love it.